Coming to you from an otherworldly ream of love and cats, it's time for a bit of tea and Telly. Pour a cup of positivity and say hello to your host, Maria.
Here I am. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining tonight. We have one heck of a show, so I'm excited to get started. And I see you all in the chat. I'd love to say hi to each of you individually, but I really am excited to bring on our co-hosts. And I have great co-hosts. I have great guests on tonight. I always do. So this is going to be an epic show. Actually, all my shows are epic, but that's just me. So I'm going to get everybody started because this is going to be a fun night. So hang on to your hats. And first, I'm going to bring on one of I put both of the brothers, but one of them's a little busy, and I'm going to have a talk with Terry because he took him away from me tonight. But I'm going to bring on one of our Popcast brothers here, and I have Brian with me. So good to have you here.
Great
Say
to be
hi,
here.
everybody. Yes, thanks so much for joining me. I know you guys are always so busy, so thank you. And then I have a nice surprise for everybody here. Spare the moment, but wonderful guest. Had him on our show before. You guys all loved him, and am so excited to have him back, Mr. Mike Richards.
Yay!
Love being here. Love the intro. I love the whole vibe of this show. Thanks for asking me to come on.
Absolutely. I always love having you here. And so thank you. I do appreciate that. So I am excited to bring on our awesome guest that everybody is just talking about all week. And I've been talking about it for a little while since he said, yeah, I'll do it. I said, yay. Minus the s'mores. Sorry, guys. We're gonna have to. It was kind of my way to just bring them back. We'll have to do the s'mores next time. But I'm going to introduce you all to the wonderful Jim Mahoney. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hey, guys. Nice. So happy to be here. Thank you for bringing me on. This is
Absolutely.
exciting.
Thanks for coming on. We are so excited. So much you're doing now. You know, one of the things, we've had an opportunity to talk with several people from the Orville show, and I don't know, they have this thing about finding people with amazing talent, but also with amazing personalities. Everyone has been so gracious, especially with their time. So I do appreciate you gracing us with your presence here on Tea and Telly, and my lovely co-host. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you for joining.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so everybody is excited in the chat, and thank you all for showing up here. Like I said, I'd love to introduce you all individually. I'm going to try not to talk too much because I'm already starting to get a little scratchy here. So anyway, Brian, Mike, what kind of things do you have in your head going on here to talk to Mr. Jim about? Because I got questions, but you know.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, specifically to the Orville, I love your character. Just so much fun. Jessica Lynn Verdi, our co-host on Orville Nation, speaks fluent Simlish, which I think is maybe a dialect of the language that you speak as Brosk, and just so much fun. She works that into our show, and I always get a laugh out of it. But man, you can just, and being able to, while speaking an alien language, literally an alien language, still emote and still have the audience know exactly what you're thinking and have it be believable. It's an incredible piece of acting, especially under all the prosthetics. So is this the first prosthetic work you've done? I've seen you in other things. I haven't seen you do any kind of prosthetic work before. I apologize if I've missed something obvious.
No, that was my first big, an actual, legit show using prosthetics. A long time ago, a friend of mine who was a student, a grad student at USC. The USC does this contest where filmmakers will submit to AMC to do a Coca-Cola commercial for AMC theaters. And he did one that was a zombie apocalypse at a movie theater, and I played one of the zombies. And so that was my first experience with prosthetics. And I will say it was miserable. This was a very different experience. Howard Berger and his whole team are absolute wizards and just lovely people. It was a blast, and it was a lot of fun to work with. Yeah, it was. It took them the first time we did that. It fun experience because you go to get like the mask put on beforehand, which is a trippy experience. Going to one of their locations where they pour all the liquid over your face to make basically a mold of your face to then build this off of it. And then they like the whole top head and what goes around all the way to the chin is like a prosthetic that you just put on like a hood. And then Howard and Tammy and his team build all the rest. And it's unbelievable to watch how they do it because then they have to repeat it over and over again every day. So they've got obviously like pictures to for continuity. And I don't know how they do it. I think it's kind of insane.
And I've never heard Armin Shimmerman, Doug Jones, Michael Dorn ever say the best part of their day was getting up 4 hours, 6 hours before everybody else and going through that process. So God love you on that. Now, when they were making the mold, were you breathing through straws? I mean, I've heard of things like that while the liquid was applied to your, maybe covering up your breathing holes.
When they did it because they pour this liquid, it feels like you're walking into a torture chamber, but the mold melts or hardens so quickly. It's like a miracle of science. I think if I remember correctly, yes, they placed something to kind of keep the liquid from pouring over my nose. But I honestly can't remember if I had straw. I feel like that's the way to do it, but I honestly can't remember. I remember being ridiculously fast when the mold just hardened. They're like, all right, get up. I'm like, what? And they just pulled it off. Like it was kind of, again, it was like, I don't know how they did this even 10 years ago without just maybe killing a few actors.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The first thing I thought of was, how everybody likes those bubble wrap things. I'm just curious to feel the bubble wrappy feeling in that. Oh no, that's awesome. And your smile still shines through. You can still see you, but not you. Somebody asked me a question about the voice. Let me pull that up because somebody asked me to ask you. 1 second, if I can dig it up. You guys can ask other questions too while I'm doing this.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Jim. Mm-hmm. How was it operating next to Unk?
Unk was rad. He was that dude. I can't remember his name. The gentleman that played Unk. He had worked in a lot. He works a lot of creature characters, and so it was that guy it was a difficult job because that suit was so cumbersome to move in, and he had to have like guidance all the way around, and he did it like a champ, man. Because they put the hood on over him, and he would do scenes over and over again, and what looks like just walk in and walk out. But it was incredibly difficult, or walking upstairs became super difficult. And he would just do it over and over again like a champ, over and over again. But it was this massive contraption that it doesn't obviously move. The movement of his mouth and face is all VFX. But it was really cool to work with him. And he was probably 5'6", but he looks like he's 9 feet tall in that giant contraption.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Unk is the thing that looks sort of like a male phallus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it was funny because at the Orville experience, that first year when it came out, they had the Unk costume. I thought it was a statue because it looked so solid. And when I walked up to it, I realized that was what the actual actor got into, and I was like, "That is insane."
Yeah. It's kind of nuts. And I think
it's a better version of the tardigrade, right?
What was that? Right. I think that guy worked with Howard a bunch. Like I think he's worked with Howard on many of his projects.
That's
so
rad.
like that's like his thing is he does like these kind of creature movements, which is an entire field. Like Doug Jones obviously is the most famous of them.
Yeah, Doug Jones is outstanding. Yeah, that's really cool. And I love the prosthetic. I love the prosthetics on your face, and I love how you did bring that character to life.
Yes.
And what bums me out is that one thing that bummed me out about the last season, the previous season, I guess, of the Orville, is that there wasn't a whole lot of. We instead of getting more of the really unique aliens like you and Dan and Unk, we got very little in comparison. Was that because of like time constraints? Is it like maybe it's because it's hard to emote in those things? Like you pulled it off, Dan pulled it off, but I can see how it would be difficult to emote in the prosthetics. And that was the one criticism I had for the last season, that we didn't get as many creatures or as many creature features, I guess, in that last season. It was more about the core cast per se.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think that it could have been. I mean, I loved a lot of the storyline that happened in the third season. I thought it was beautiful. Like many of the stories, like the two Topas, like brought me to tears at times. Like I thought that what they did was excellent. But I do see what you're saying. I will say this whole season was shot during COVID. The scheduling matrix that kept moving around was, I can't even, every week that we would shoot, it would be rearranged every week. It was almost never was it kind of what was planned, and it had to have been because of COVID. I remember one day they sent me, I was released for the day because they realized that they were like, all right, we got to go because we got to get rid of him because we need to bring him back for another day. And then in the fly, and I don't know how Seth does what he does, because the number of hats that guy is wearing and the scale of this show is so enormous. And yet he can, in an instant, like reframe and repurpose stuff and like move stuff around. I was leaving the studio, leaving set, and they're like, real quick, they think that if they can get this one shot with you for the next episode. Right. Can you stay? And I was like, sure, I can. And Howard Berger was like, are you kidding me? And like, he was like, all right, we got to put you back in. And so they put me back in prosthetics again, which takes 3 hours. Oh. And then for one scene to be done, because we have to move it. And it's probably because one of the other actors or something happened that basically like ruined the next day or moved the schedule around. They're like, and because the scheduling keeps having to move around, I think that they kind of had to focus on what they could really focus on the most and control the most. And I mean, running a show of that scale, I can't even fathom how big it is. And then you talk about COVID on top of it. I mean, we had to test 2 days leading up to the day we were on site. So if we had a fitting, you test twice, 2 days, and then you go and you do the fitting, and then whatever it might be. So any day you're on set, you have to test twice before. And it was like going into a military facility because they were very, very serious about keeping it safe. And that makes sense. Yeah, and I believe there was no COVID shutdowns, by the way. I think if I'm correct, they didn't have one during that entire.
When we had Seth on Mission Log the Orville, he talked about the company they used, Pan Defense, which was in existence before the pandemic. Just kind of hoping for one, I guess, waiting for one. And the head of that operation is called Larry Brilliant, and believe it or not, and yes, that entire season, the Orville New Horizons, was shot without one transmission of COVID on set, and you guys saw it all, man. There were scenes with hundreds of people on the hangar deck, lots of extras. So God love them for everybody involved for caring about the people that much to make sure that people weren't putting themselves at unnecessary risk.
Yeah, but that makes sense that the creatures didn't get as much feature because there's a lot more to you guys coming on set and actually shooting.
Yeah. And I can't even imagine how it would be to I mean, I'm sure it's possible to make a character arc for Unk, because again, that guy is just this lumbersome, and somebody else does his, I believe. Like for me, I have and also speaking to the voice, when I did the first episode in season 2, Seth not only wrote out phonetically how it was supposed to sound, but then like in the script, it was written out and just it looked like almost like just massive, just sounds with hyphens between them, and I was like, this is insane. But also in the opening pages, he put what the phonetic tones and like what to hit, I was like, he basically made a musical note for it. And then I threw in a little weird funk in the audition. They were like, all right. And it went up to Seth. And the very first, he basically made it very clear. It's like, he sounds like this. I was like, got it. And then after we did the next couple of seasons, he was kind of do your thing. Like you got to think, right? Do your thing for other takes, which was super fun. But he had it designed in his head. Like he had basically an idea of how he would sound, what he would look like. I actually have a fun thing to show you guys if you want to see it. So Howard Berger was basically saying, because he's an Academy Award-winning makeup artist. Like the guy is like, he's at the top of his craft. And when Seth told him the idea for the character Brosk, Howard showed up with like a bunch of expert sketches apparently. And he told me, he's like, I was talking to Seth like after a table read or wherever he was, like, here's my ideas for what could be this character. And then Seth was like, it's not that. And I guess he just literally like turned a page in his notebook and with a pencil just like went, it was like this. And Howard blew it up for me and gave me this thing.
Oh, no way.
Ah, that's rad.
Holy moly.
And Howard was just like, and then took that and made this. Like, look at how close it is. Look at how similar that is.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like, this is blown up. You can see it's like it's notebook paper.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And that reminds me of the initial sketch of the Orville, which was also a Seth sketch after much design and back and forth, and that very much held up to the final design. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. That's talent. That's talent. I found the question. Apparently there was a little chit chat on Twitter asking about the voice. And people wanting to know if that is Slimish from the Sims game that your voice.
I actually don't even know what that is.
I don't either.
I have no idea. Yeah.
I guess the Sims game has voices on it, and they kind of wanted to know if you did them.
No. If I was the voice of that character?
Yeah.
No, that I was like, I don't know what you just said.
I know you're
I could be totally made up, and I'd be like, no, I'm sure, yeah. Like it sounds.
Is there a Sims version of the Orville?
No, not yet. There's a game of the Orville, but you know that, but not the Sims version.
That's cool.
No, I feel like his voice is somewhere between. And I kind of was it just sort of came out of whatever, like trying to make sense of the sounds. I was like trying to describe it to somebody, and they're like, "What is that?" I was like, "I don't know. It's like Swedish pterodactyl, I think." It's
Swedish pterodactyl. I think PJ was asking if you knew enough to speak a little for the.
It's all basically made up. It's like what was it? One of the words was basically like trying to think of one of the. It's this weird. It was like what was the last Abstuvia, like this weird like no big deal, like, Abstuvia, like, and I was getting really weird with it. At one point, Steph was like, you can chill it down. I was like, cool, yeah. I think it was like I made like weird like noises, and he was like, okay, that's cool, but also you have to do it again the same in multiple takes, and so it becomes like the first time I did it, it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do to remember the sound, because they don't mean anything. It isn't the language. They don't mean anything, but you have to remember how it's done and the inflection and repeat it so they can get coverage. So it was almost impossible to remember, because you can remember, like if you're memorizing lines, you can be like, well, I remember the story. And so even if I don't remember the exact lines, I can get close for like the story of the scene. You can sort of like, as you're going through it, you're like, oh, that's my line, as you're talking and listening, like most actors do. But because there's no there's no regular words, I'm like, I don't know what these are. Like,
that sounds like my language then, because nobody understands me. I'm just kidding.
Fit right in.
Fit right in.
I always started when I have a speech impediment. That's so when I get a name wrong or something, that's my excuse. Could I avoid the speech impediment? Yes, if I spoke slower and calmer, but I do not.
That's funny. Anybody else on anything at Orville before we go on to some other?
There was a question in the chat. Does the beard? Did you have the beard when you were getting makeup, getting made up? Okay.
Yeah, that was a bummer. I had to shave. I had to shave for that because the prosthetic requires the shaved skin to adhere. So I remember when at one point I hadn't grown it to this length, and it was COVID. So I was like kind of getting into it. I was like, I like my beard. Like, can I keep it? And they're like, no. I was like, sweet.
Yeah, my snorts. Right.
That's what stops me from doing most cosplay. Every time I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this cosplay for this premiere, and I'm like, oh, I gotta shave my beard. No, I'm good.
Yeah.
There's not enough bearded nerd icons, man.
I know. I hate shaving mine too. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. Yeah. What else was I going to ask? I want to make sure I didn't miss any. PJ's producing in the back. PJ, was there any questions that I need to bring back up again that I might have missed before we go on? Because I think I saw some other questions. Yeah,
Thank you.
I know.
I need the beer too. Thank you.
Yeah, you have quite the look. Saw your portfolio stuff, and you have a look for every moment.
Oh
So,
wow. Digging
and
through like the old.
you know what's fascinating to me is that you didn't actually venture. People say they grow up and they're like, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. You didn't actually start off saying to yourself, you know what, I think I want to be an actor. You actually had something else in mind and took a detour. And that's amazing because your acting is fun and it's fun to watch. It's amazing. But you had something else in mind, didn't you? A different career path, I think.
Well, initially
Something
it
like
was comedy. Initially it was stand-up comedy. That was the real start was my dad is a lawyer, so I was like, I'll be a lawyer. That's the plan. Start with that, and then I went to school. I actually worked with him at his firm at one point. I was like, I hate this, and so then I went from that into stand-up. I did like theater and stand-up, and I actually like did stand up for a minute. I actually really enjoyed it in Denver, specifically Denver.
oh,
It was a lot of fun. I did a show at the comedy,
Comedy
at the
Works.
comedy store, Comedy Works. That's it.
Yeah.
I did like I think I was a finalist at one of their like yearly shows, one of their yearly contests. And I was like, I love this. And then I did stand up in LA for a minute. And I was like, I don't like this as much. It wasn't as fun. It wasn't as fun for me.
Stand up is hard.
That was a tough one. And then I fell into acting, and then that led into writing.
Writing. That's awesome. So
what did you dig up? I was like, what? Is there something I'm missing?
You're like, what is this woman doing?
You found your OnlyFans, Jim.
Right.
You found your OnlyFans. And so did I.
We're all sharing it.
And I'm Googling as fast as I can.
We're like, maybe I should Google it. What was I doing before?
Did I forget to delete something?
Jim, AI is wild these days, man.
I know there was an article that came out in Deadline not that long ago about a guy named Jim Mahoney that has been a PR. He was a PR guy for 60 years. Like worked for Steve McQueen and stuff, and his name was Jim Mahoney, and it was tagged to my IMDb profile. So my friends were like, "You look great for being 90 or whatever it was."
Oh, Jim, it's a very similar thing happened to me. There's another. I'm not gonna say my last name. There's another Brian, aka my last name, on IMDb. Now I have an actual IMDb page because I did work in the industry as a predator on like Crackle and for like Orlando Jones, but my IMDb page is like thin. It's very like a pattern of PA, work and craft services, right? And then a few years ago, I did a Nerdcasters thing on YouTube where they added us all to IMDb, and somehow there was a mix-up where it took like the visual artists for like Jurassic Park and like all these big blockbusters who's also had my same name, and they merged the two, and so. From the outside looking in, I looked like one of the greatest visual effects artists of all time. One way I got a meeting with some of these directors was I sent them my actual IMDb page, and the mix-up probably got me a little more credit than it was worth, to be honest.
That's awesome.
Crazy about this story about this guy named Jim Mahoney, who was a famous PR guy. There's a restaurant in Santa Monica called Shay J. It's been there for like 70 years or something like that. It's famous, almost like old Hollywood era. And it's like this, it's what you think. Like it's like red booths. It's kind of dingy, but it's been there forever. And there's pictures everywhere of famous people from like the golden era of Hollywood and whatnot. And I was waiting to go into the bathroom, and there's like a framed letter written to Shay J about like, there's this really nice, eloquent letter that was like, thank you so much for I bring all my guests here, including all these famous people from like the 60s and 50s. And then it's signed Jim Mahoney at the bottom. I was like, what the? And I'm like reading this letter, waiting for the bathroom. I was like, what is happening? And then now this guy's PR comes up. So like, he's just haunting me.
That's funny. Yeah, my IMDb page could use a little work. But let's see. What else do I have here? I'm doing this without my glasses. Sorry about the cat. He likes to make an appearance.
You did voice work for Diablo 3, huh?
Yeah, I did voice work for Blizzard for Diablo 3 and another World of Warcraft game. I can't remember, it was like, yeah, it was World of Warcraft and Diablo 3 and then something else. Did a bunch of other.
I'm pretty sure I went to like an A meeting for playing Diablo 3 too much. So I probably have heard your voice.
If somebody asked me if my height ever gets in the way, I'm actually 6'5". That I don't know. Somehow on IMDb Pro it says 6'3". I'm actually 6'5", and I do believe it sometimes my height is an issue. When we shot Gatlop, which was a movie I wrote and then we shot it in 2020. It was a crazy. So it was me with 6'5". Sharonis Jackson is 6'8". John, I think, and then John Bass, I think it's 5'2". So the DP was like, I hate you guys. This is going to be a nightmare. Emmy's like at the right height. She's like where most actors are. Like I think she's like 5'8" or whatever. And we are. Oh, you got the trailer. There we go. Yeah. So John's
how is Emmy? Because she was on that Netflix show, right?
She is amazing.
I
think she kind of makes the movie. She is fantastic. She's good in everything. Sharonis. He's like 6'8". She's like, I think she's like 5'8". I think 5'7". I'm terrible because I'm tall. I'm like all my friends get mad at me because they're like, when you like say a height number, and it's just kind of, I don't know, 5 something because I'm 6'5", and so everybody's kind of 5 something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This was basically if Jumanji was a drinking game. It's like a weird dark comedy. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
You guys got to catch that.
Yeah, I'm watching it tonight. That's for sure.
Yeah. Catch it.
Where can you catch that? What streaming services on or?
Tubi, I believe, but you can rent it on like all the rental ones. Like
I just bought it on Amazon.
Oh, awesome! Much appreciated.
Yeah, support, guys, and spend a little bit, and support them. But you got to see this previews with the volume later on, and catch it. It looks like it's gonna be a blast. And on this one, you are a writer and director. On this particular one, you wrote this one. Is that right?
This one I wrote. My good friend Alberto Belli directed it. I acted in it, but I did write this one. I did write and direct another movie a year later that also came out last year called Bar Fight with Rachel Bloom and Melissa Fumero, which is a fun, wacky, romantic comedy. Very different. I feel like this audience is probably more of a Gatlop audience because it's a weird, fantasy-esque, sci-fi-like kind of horror comedy.
You just called us all weird.
I love it, though. We are weird.
That's why I'm here.
That's right. I am weird. That's for us.
We are weird. Yeah. That's awesome. Actually, this and those who come back and rewatch later on the rewatch, but we are all kind of like, movie fanatics, whether it be sci-fi or comedy. My favorite is comedy. But this kind of falls along the lines of other movies that people tend to love, like what's that, American Pie, and kind of like, those I don't know how to describe it. It's a comedy. It's help me out here, guys. It's not slapstick comedy, but what's the name of this genre comedy?
It's like heightened. Like it's like I say it's heightened. Oh god. Now I'm
having a hard time.
Oh my god. Now I'm having a brain fart because everyone used to say horror, and I was like, it's not a horror movie. It's more of a thriller comedy. Comedy. It's got horror structure, but it's more of a thriller comedy. It's like I wanted it to get into the dark kind of edge of like this is the end kind of feel, but it got guided towards a little bit more kind of sillier, wackier. But it's still really fun. And I loved This Is the End. I loved that movie. And I wanted that kind of tone, that kind of like weird freakouts from people that have no business being in a high stakes scenario. Right. And all they can do is give each other shit throughout it. So that's sort of the feel.
I love that. Can I do my, can I read the summary?
Sure.
Would that help? I'll do my best movie trailer attempt. In a world where a group of old friends reunites for a nostalgic event of fun and games after a decade apart, after one too many, they decide to play a drinking game, but it's quickly revealed that this game comes with supernatural stakes. Mischief leads to mayhem, and the group realizes that if they can't come together to win the game by sunrise, they will be forced to play for eternity in hell.
Oh, just
That was great, Mike.
this is brilliant.
I'm reading this. I'm like, I love it.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I got hooked
Well
with the
done.
trailer too. I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be something else.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
That's great.
I'm gonna get pizza and watch that movie there. That's what I'm gonna do.
Hey, man,
Yeah.
Brian, we'll do a watch party, brother.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, you should. That'd be awesome. Nice.
I got the idea for the movie. It was like so many years ago. It was like 15 years ago. I got this idea. I was with a bunch of friends. We were literally getting together to get a drink at my buddy's apartment before going out and like hitting the town. And we met at my friend's place, and his wife was like, "Yeah, why don't you guys have a beer and then get out?" And then my buddy was like, "You guys want to play a game before we go out?" And pulls out this game called Quelf, 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 which is like the weirdest party game ever. And it was the most fun. It was so strange. The first card we pulled, my buddy ran out of the apartment to go hide somewhere because that was the rule. Like, you had to go seek. At the end, one dude was wrapped in toilet paper, had a shoe on his head, whatever. And we didn't leave the apartment. We stayed in his apartment drinking. His wife was like, "You guys were supposed to get out of the house. Leave." So we stayed all night. And I was like, what if this game like tricked us and we could never leave? And I was like, I have to go.
Oh.
Write this down.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Kind of where it came from.
That's. I'm gonna have to look that game up because I'm a gamer too, and that
It's a
sounds
fun,
interesting.
weird, dumb game. Like, it's great. It's a great
Those are
party
the
game.
best.
Yeah.
The best. Yeah, which it's kind of awesome. We talked about this because I did want to lead into your other projects and stuff that you're doing. Are you doing anything right now?
Yes, a few things. So I have a writing partner I've worked with for a very long time. We're working on 2 movies for Netflix. We wrote 2 movies for 2 animation studios. One was DreamWorks Animation. One was another project that are kind of in the stages of development. Working on pitching a few projects around town, and then I'm currently I have a half-hour animated series that I'm taking out that is a weird one. It's like an R-rated half-hour kind of comedy about the support staff, like the hospitality staff of like a Bond supervillain. And because whenever I was watching like James Bond one day, like Dr. No, and I was like,
Right.
why is it that James Bond in every movie he's trying to be murdered by the villain, but the second he shows up to the dude's complex, there's like a massage waiting for him. They got dinner scheduled at 8. Like, they're gonna go swimming, and I'm like, and who are these people that work there, and what do they do? Like, are they like do they work for a company that like cycles in staff? Like, oh, you got like a super agent coming at on the 9th. All right, I can get you a bar staff at 9 a.m. How's that, or whatever? Like, or do they live there? So it's about these people.
And you would think if James Bond was such a great spy, he would never get caught. But he has to get caught in every movie.
Mhm.
Every single movie, James Bond has to get captured, or else he wouldn't be able to work his way out of the secret lair and get the free dinner, the massage, the steam bath, and maybe the occasional pool with sharks or piranha or whatever other.
Right. Yeah. Sharks with lasers.
Sharks with lasers.
You know what that sounds like? There was a series called Powerless that came out that was like it was canceled for no reason. In my opinion, I thought it was hilarious, and it was about like the people that create the gadgets for Batman, basically.
That's good.
Ah.
Yeah, and they lived
answering
in
the
a
question,
world where
where does he get?
Well,
That's a weird game. I want to answer a question that somebody asked because I think it's important. Most people spend way too much money on Final Draft for what they type their screenplays on. I use Fade In. I love Fade In, and I think that Final Draft is considered the industry standard. That's kind of horseshit in my mind. Fade In. I think it's amazing. It's a great program. It's way cheaper. It costs nothing to upgrade, whereas like you have to pay for upgrades with Final Draft. So that's what I use. But there are times where in projects where you need Final Draft for that's just how they work. Some studios only work that way. The other is that people say like, well, you need Final Draft for movie magic for when you're going into production, but you can make a Final Draft file from Fade In. So I did 2 movies where we went into production and I used it for Scripty. This is getting in kind of the details of filming. This is kind of nerdy, but it's helpful. And I love stayed in for all those reasons. But then the last thing you guys were asking what I was working on, the last thing I'm working on is I just got attached to do a rewrite and attach myself to direct this one is very much, I probably can't speak too much about it specifically because I don't know. It just started, but it's very much a horror wedding movie, I think is what I'll say. With in the vein of like Ready or Not and Cabin in the Woods. So that's
Cabin in the Woods is wild. In the vein of that means that there's like 50 different twists. And by the end of the movie, you think it's one thing and you realize it's completely not the same thing. Yeah. Cabin in the Woods is chef's kiss. I try to get people to watch that movie and they're always turned off by the campiness at the beginning, right? They go,
that's the point. That's the point.
The only way I can get people to watch that movie is I got to sit with them and I got to like massage them into the second act. Because if they get to the second act, they're hooked. But almost nobody I know can get past the first act on their own, which is amazing.
I mean, I love it. Just how it starts with Whitford and what's the other guy's name? Bradley Whitford and his counterpart. I always forget this guy's name. I'm terrible. He's an amazing actor, and I always forget his name. He's been around forever. He's in like one of my favorite movies, Witches of Eastwick. I love this guy.
I can't remember her name. I'm so bad with names.
Nichols? What? In Witches of Eastwick?
He plays the husband of the woman that gets her leg broken in Witches of Eastwick.
Oh.
I forget the guy's name. He's amazing. But their dynamic in the opening sequence of this Cabin in the Woods, I love. But I also Ready or Not. I love Ready or Not. I love that movie. So playing with that tone as well a little bit and the fun of that because that is a blast of a movie. And Samara Weaving is she makes it. She's unreal how good she is in that movie. But yeah, so playing in that space.
Ready or Not's awesome too. Yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah, another movie where you don't, if you don't watch the trailer, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say you don't watch the trailer, you just sit down. You don't realize how insane that movie is until the second act.
Yeah, and it gets.
And when it happens, you're like, "What the?"
Yeah.
I showed it to my wife without her knowing anything about the movie. I told her it was a romantic comedy.
That's good.
We sit down and she's like, "Oh, this is not very funny." I'm like, "Just wait. It's about to get hilarious." It's a great movie.
Marriage Story is what it is.
You're right.
Oh.
Yeah,
this one's
fun. This is a still from a web series. The guy that I wrote Klaus with and my writing partner of it's now been 14 years. We started making random shorts, and this was one that shorts and then web series and stuff. This was one that came out that I still love this. The premise is it's called the Etiquette Ninjas, and the premise of this entire series is basically don't be a dick. And it's for all the little things if you hold the door open for somebody and they don't say thank you, these guys show up and mess people up. Or if you cut someone off and don't give the wave, or if you're texting all the time and not talking to people, or all the different little mini stupid social faux pas, and these two digits show up and beat you up in weird, ridiculous ways. That's
nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to hire them. I want to hire them to just follow me around.
Because if you're at a stop and you're letting somebody cross and they don't hustle and they're just taking their time, that's when they need.
These guys would have been totally Russell Crowe and Team Russell Crowe and Unhinged.
Yeah.
In that film, if you saw it. Okay, good. Sounds like my people.
Yeah. Because I'm from Minnesota, my writing partner's from Oklahoma, and we're like, why is everybody a dick? And we're basically we just came up with this stupid idea, and we're like, let's do this.
Everyone's they're so inconveniently mean everywhere you go.
Yeah. Sometimes it gets a little bit, yeah.
And my buddy has a theory that everyone is the main character of their story, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
and
we're in this real sort of narcissistic phase of our society where because everyone's the main character of the story and they've been told their entire lives that their comfort is the most important, then our society is continually crumbling down that path where everyone is worried more about themselves than anything else, when I realized that I'm certainly not the main character of the story anymore, is when I was able to adjust and my life was able to get better. But that idea of like when I'm about to make a right-hand turn and I watch these teenagers dawdling in the street and I'm like, come on. Yeah. And one guy stops and starts calling to his friend and he's right in front of my car. I'm like, hello, come on.
You know, I'm like, these people don't know I'm Latina and I got a chancla. I'm about ready to throw this chancla.
Get those sandals off, girl.
Alicia, thank you for this $1.99 super chat of a director's chair. Thank you so much. She's my wrench tonight, helping us out. So I appreciate all you're doing for me here, and I appreciate that. And let me see.
I heard a good pop culture, I don't know, modern day take on the golden rule. It was we're all the main character. We're all the hero in our own movie. Don't treat people like they're a prop in yours.
Ooh, I like
right?
that.
Everybody's
good.
the main character in their movie. Don't treat people like they're a prop in yours.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's a good one.
I just act like I'm craft services in my movie. It works out better. And I get to
you're everybody's friend. And you are
I'm everyone's friend. Yep. Don't worry, Jim. I saved you the pepperoni.
In my movie, I'm the comedy relief person, I guess. I don't know.
When I did craft services, why is it that the pepperoni was always the first thing to go? I always thought, why is it always the pepperoni? Out of crackers, just everything that's there, the pepperoni is always the first thing gone. And I realized every one of these actors are on like a low carb diet. So that's why true. The pepperoni is always the first one to go.
The thing for me was fruit snacks. Fruit snacks are my crack. There was one point where, any version of them, like for some reason that reminds me of my childhood, like those fruit snacks that have like a little bit of like sugar dusting on them too. So it's like just like a light, almost powder. Something about that, it just makes me like my mouth water. I had a PA in the last movie that I would be like, keep these fucking things away from me because I won't stop eating. He just show up with like a bag. He's like, hey, Jim. Like, I don't want them. And I would grab it like, oh, I'm stupid. I don't want them.
I hate you.
I hate you. This is
jerk.
It's never going to work again. And it worked.
I know. Right. Oh my goodness. Hey, Connie, thank you so much. That's so nice of you. She gifted a membership to someone here. PJ said we don't see it here in the stream, but I'm going to find out about that. Thank you so much. She helped somebody become a taco cat. So thank you. Speaking of food. And Pranakash Productions with a $9.99 super chat. And you can read that aloud there.
Can't quite see the whole thing. I only see, damn it, Jim, and it just goes ellipsis. Can't
see the rest that's of it.
That's the point. Yeah.
Damn it,
Star Trek reference.
Oh, yes. That's the poster for Bart. That's one of them. Damn it, Jim,
No. Yes.
Yeah, that's that one I did last year in 2021. Both my movies were were right before the world opened up again. Gallup was thick, like that was pre-vaccine.
I'm a Jim, I'm a carpenter.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, Bar Fight's another one you're gonna have to see. Brian, you're gonna have to take a look at that one too. All you guys, I saw the previews for that one as well.
Oh my God, Melissa Famora is like my favorite of all time.
There you go. Now you have
she's
a
awesome
reason.
in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Amazing.
And she's also like the greatest person ever. Like just the nicest, kindest, funniest, most chill person ever. It's crazy.
I have a huge crush on her.
I know you're stumbling in your words. Look at you.
But I stumble in my words all the time. So
yeah, that's awesome. So this is another scene, or is it a still picture? Just a still picture.
Still picture from a scene, but yeah.
From a scene. Okay.
Yeah, when they fight over their local bar.
Is this already out?
It's out on AMC Plus. IFC did it. They did basically it's like a couple that have an amicable breakup, and that like everything's chill, and then they show up at their favorite local bar, and they're like, no, this is mine, and they're like, no, and so then the staff have them compete in a battle to win over the bar. Is the premise of the movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Another one I'm gonna buy.
You're very funny. Very funny. Oi. Smart Alec.
Oh my God, she was in this. She was in this series called Blockbuster on Netflix, which I thought was hilariously mean of Netflix to make a series about the company that they put out of business. I thought that's
destroyed too.
Yeah, they just
And
destroyed them.
The funny thing about that is that they, like, I think, if I remember correctly, and this could be all conjecture, but I've heard that the guys that created Netflix, so it wasn't Ted Sarandos, it was, who was the guy that actually just stepped down? It was the main CEO, I forget. Maybe it was Ted Sarandos as well, but somebody that was above Ted Sarandos and him basically walked into Blockbuster like, we have an idea to basically expand your business, which is to mail DVDs. And they're like, get out of here, children. And then they're like, all right, well, we'll just do it on our own. And then they killed Blockbuster.
You're right.
And then Blockbuster tried to do their own version of it. Remember that when they tried to make it? It was just.
It gets worse though, because then they after they were successful, they offered the business to Blockbuster for like a super low amount of money, and Blockbuster said, no, you're never going to succeed. Three times.
And the main reason that Blockbuster didn't want any part of it was because of all the revenue they got from late fees. And if you just get your DVD and just mail it back at your convenience, there's no late fee, which is what I loved about, that mail service with that mail-in service, with Netflix at the time.
Yeah.
And now even that's, I doubt they even do that anymore, do they? Because remember there was Flickster and Netflix, and then they kind of
they have Redbox now. I think it's Redbox, but yeah, Blockbuster made a pretty good penny off me. Even as an employee, you still have to pay late fees. That didn't work. I thought if I work for them, I'm gonna have to pay anything.
That's awful. That's awful. That's criminal.
I was like, that's criminal. You know what? Really quick here, somebody brought up Stony Girl. This actually, it would be kind of fun to do. She says we need some. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Somebody read that.
Some frost-shaped fruit snacks. Yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Of just all the different aliens from the Orville, like the whole bunch.
That would be fun.
There needs to be more products, more, definitely more merch from the Orville. Definitely untapped potential. We got a few people from Roddenberry, from the Roddenberry Discord, rating the chat too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, Dominic Nigro is one of our Discord patron members.
Sweet.
And he popped up. So hi to Dominic.
Very nice. Thank you so much for joining. And Dr. O here with a 444 super chat of a Taco Cat.
Taco Cat.
Everybody has a Taco Cat. So really quick, while there's more people in here, I had mentioned that I'm always giving away stuff, and I have some really awesome Valentine's rings I was going to give out. I said I was going to say a keyword, and guys, I named my new car. The keyword is my new car name. All the guys always say she's beautiful, and I'm naming him a guy. I'm naming my car Keanu.
Oh, okay.
Is it a
I
Kia?
named my car Terry, so it goes either she or he. It works.
There you go. That's not fair. Yeah, I like Keanu, and I thought of the Matrix, and when I got in and I turned on the car and it did all this little funky stuff and the lights and it, I was like, wow. So yeah, my car's Keanu. Keyword, guys. Okay, you know what to do from there. Anyway, thanks for the super chats and the gifts and whatnot, and you guys are gonna have to talk for me a little bit more.
I'm just laughing at the Retepsian fruit snack would be a gusher. I think that's awesome.
That's good.
Thank you, PJ, for pulling that up. I wanted to talk about this. This had an amazing story to it. The way you got started doing this kind of didn't. It had another thing that everything you touch supposed to go one direction. You bring it another, and you did some awesome stuff with it. Tell us a little bit about this. Sure.
So this was the job that changed the course of my career in life. I mean, it was crazy because Zach Lewis is my writing partner. That's the guy that I've been working with for a long time. And we met in acting class. And how it started was basically I was trying to get jobs as an actor here and there, and I got a little frustrated that I just had to keep waiting for someone to give me the opportunity to work, and you had to basically fit that perfect slot, fit exactly the casting. Nobody else wanted it, all that stuff. And I was like, I'm tired of waiting for the opportunity. So I wrote something. It was like a short about two dudes on a couch. It's like stupid. It was in 2007, I think, or something like that. No, I think it was, yeah, like about that time. And I was like, let's just make something. And he was like, this is really funny. Let's work on it together, and then we'll make a thing. And we did, and it did pretty well. And then we made web series like Etiquette Ninjas and whatever. And then he had an idea for a feature. He's like, you know how to write a feature? I was like, no. So then we learned how to read every book and learn how to write features, and made wrote a couple like not great ones into a half mediocre one. And then the one that was half mediocre, people thought it was funny, but I'm still like reading it now. I'm like, woof, like it needs a lot of work. But that got us our first manager. He was like, I need comedy guys, and you guys write like basically R-rated guy comedy. And that was like what we were known for, and trying to get jobs. And you work for free, you take meetings. One of these random meetings was at Paramount Animation. We met an executive named Jill Gilbert, who was rad. She had worked on the SpongeBob movie, and randomly she got a call from Sergio Pablos, the other writer and director of Klaus, who had this idea about an origin story of Santa. And he's like, I can't write it, because apparently he'd been trying to sell this thing for like 9 years at the time. And then maybe 10 years, and couldn't sell it. The guy had worked in animation for almost 30 years. But he never like directed or produced a movie. He'd worked in every element of animation. But the response from all the buyers were like, you need to show us a script. We can't tell if you can write this. So he was looking to hire writers, and Jill Gilbert, God bless her, was like, you need to meet these two guys. They're funny and they're chill. I think you'd like them. And we met Sergio over a Skype meeting, because he's in Madrid. And he was like, I want to make this movie. I heard good things about you guys. I need to get a script to try to sell this thing. And we like said all the right things in terms of the story, because we're like, we think there's something here. And we pitched kind of our take. He's like, great, send me a sample. And we're like, totally, which is in the business of writing. Before you get a job, you send a sample of your writing, and it's usually a sample of the same medium or whatever. So if you're writing a feature, you want to have the closest thing to what that feature will be. We had no animation samples, but a short we wrote for somebody, which was like 10 pages. It was animation that didn't get made. And then a really raunchy dude movie called Harry Schmerler Sex Tape, which was like a movie that could never be made today. It was basically if Jack McBrayer was a guy that looks just like Jack McBrayer was in a sex tape with Kim Kardashian, and then this other guy that looks just like him, they're like, you're that guy. And he's like, yes, I'm that guy. And then pretends to be this guy. So we're like, cool, we'll send you this.
I want to watch that.
We'll send you this. Yeah, exactly. Now, we were like, we'll send the only thing we got. And we're like, we're not going to get this job. And then Sturgeon was like, love it. Like, you guys are perfect.
Well, I got to tell you, I loved this movie. I saw this Christmas before last or so. Watched it with my older kids, and it was I loved every minute of it, man. I thought it was endearing and charming and fun, and very very well written, man. So good on you.
Thank you. Sergio did a lot of writing on it as well. So Zach and I got hired to write the initial several drafts. We worked on it for about a year. And it was to his credit, he was like, the reason why I'm hiring you guys is because I think you'll go so far in the other, you come from a different direction. So coming to the middle of what animation is, you'll find something that's unique. And he also in the story wrote that it is a raunchy dude comedy, but it does have a lot of heart to it. And I think he saw that. And so we worked with him for a year, and then he took it and then he did some work on it. And then he used that to sell it to Netflix and then make this like unbelievable classic. I got to give him so much credit. He is amazing. Like just weird genius. Like he's great. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I really want to see that. I want to see that short that you wrote, bro.
Oh yeah, it's called.
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
Sounds hilarious.
I'll say one short which is really fun that I did with Alberto. You got to check out the short that I did with the director of Galop. It's a short called "It's Not Porn, It's HBO," which is just making fun of people.
I want to see that too. You need to start a YouTube channel.
Oh, I know, man. All these things.
Where do I find that?
It's on YouTube. Oh,
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
and it's on your IMDb page too, 2013.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of reminds me of, I interviewed this actor once who started a movie called One-Eyed Monster. I don't know if you guys.
Is it on Funny or Die?
The short, I think it might be. Oh, that's Zach. That's my writing partner. Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked with that dude for I think it's like
Nice.
15 years now. Yeah, good dude, funny as shit. We were on the phone for 4 hours today working.
Nice.
He lives on the other side of town, and so we just get on the phone usually. Otherwise, it's too far to drive.
Oh. Yeah. Hang on one second. What else was I gonna bring up here?
I found it.
You found it?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
You're gonna have a watch party night. Just pull all these up, man.
It's Not Porn. It's HBO one. Looks hilariously funny.
It's based on the guy that directed it. He was rep by my our manager at the time, and he's like, I have an idea for a short because all of his actor friends were auditioning for all these HBO movies. And what he described is like, what you're describing sounds like porn. Like, that's what it sounds like. Like, no, it's an HBO show. And they're like, he was like, is that helpful? Like, is that like a good thing? This thing that basically makes fun of HBO. And it was so funny because our first time in Deadline was with that because the short came out and it did really well. And at one point they talked to Pepler, I think it was the president at the time of HBO. And it was like, have you seen the short? And he was like, I have. And they were like, what do you think? He's like, and then like walked away. Like, I don't think we never got a meeting with HBO because of that. That's Allison, by the way. That's Allison Hayslip from that's what we were talking about earlier. She was in G4 for a long time and friends with so
Cool.
So that she starts it off. But yeah, it's a wacky, fun.
Yeah, looks hilarious. I can't wait to watch it.
Yes. My kind of stuff.
Yeah, Jim, I think your writing style is right up my alley, man.
Yeah.
I love like I do believe that comedy now is sort of sterile, you know?
Mm.
A lot of people are so concerned with pissing some group off that they tend to write around all the funniest bits and pure kino because you're not gonna most movies nowadays can't touch on any of those topics anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a way to do it too where I mean there's obviously like terrible people out there that you can then you can make them be the voices that they're the voices in your whatever you're making that are saying terrible things. Like, well, I'm commenting on how this is a horrible person or a horrible character. It might be
Always
touching on
Sunny
something
does that.
is. I love Rob McEnroe's work. I love Sonny. I think they're just sick geniuses. I love what's the one he's doing now? It's the HBO one.
Mythic Quest.
Oh my god, not HBO. Not HBO. It's
Apple TV.
No, Apple.
Yeah.
Apple.
Yep.
God, man, Mythic Quest is so good.
I listened to about the first, dozen or so, maybe the first season of the podcast where Rob, Charlie, and the three of them are going through, and they were just saying like, how hard were we trying to drive home the point in this first season of just what terrible people we were? Like, like they get it. We're terrible. We didn't have to hit them over the head this hard for so many episodes.
Right.
It's like South Park too. I mean, like one of the most like abhorrent beings on television is Cartman. So Cartman gets to basically be the awful person always.
Yeah, just
and it's like
Charlie Bunker Archie Bunker. Yeah.
Archie Bunker. Yeah.
Did you guys wanna I think we could probably play this. Is that
we can play it, yeah.
Let's see, why not? Let's give it a whirl.
Let me why don't you guys just mute yourselves, and I'm gonna play it through here.
Sounds good.
See if just make sure everybody's muted. Alrighty.
Guys! Hey! Hi! My agent just called. I got offered the coolest part. It's not a ton of dialogue, but it's gonna be so great for me. I know it.
What is it?
So basically, my character's in this ratty apartment, and this guy I'm seeing comes in, and he's like, "Get down on all fours." I'm like, "Okay." And I start crawling, and he follows me into the bedroom, and then he flips up the back of my skirt and starts eating my ass. So he's screaming.
So it's this huge bonfire orgy, but we're all naked with these pitch black eyes, and we're just going at it like animals. There are like a lot of people in this scene, but because I'm doing my girl from behind, you can totally see my entire face.
So I'm sucking the midget guy's dick when his brother comes in, and he watches for a second, but then he's like, hurry up or whatever, and then he sends in 4 naked women to join.
Yeah, it's just a few lines, but you get to have sex with the lead. It's set in the 1930s, though, so they want to know if your hoo-ha is shaved in case they need to get you a merkin.
A merkin?
A wig for your vagina. And action!
It's not porn.
It's HBO.
With 108 Emmy nominations, it's not porn, it's HBO.
Oh my god, I gotta see that. My cheeks hurt. Oh damn.
They pull it down and shit.
That was funny.
Like, the woman's husband is just like losing his mind the whole time. That's hilarious, man. That is hilarious. Oh, that's going in my folder.
Great.
That's great.
Bravo.
Also, if you're watching it, everything they're talking about is from a scene of an HBO show. One is from True Blood. One is from Game of Thrones. One is from Empire, Boardwalk Empire. That's form. I mean, like we literally wrote a scene and describe it as if an actor was describing the scene from the show.
Yeah, that was the period piece from Boardwalk Empire. I could watch an hour and 40 minutes of that. If you ever want to go full feature, it's not porn, it's HBO. I will watch an hour and 40 of that and just laugh the whole time.
Oh my god.
The black eyes one is True Blood. He's like, yeah, I got black eyes, but you can totally see my face.
Yeah.
Good. The midgets, like, oh my god.
Oh lordy. My cheeks hurt. Okay.
Oh,
And
it's
this
so
is
good.
me and Zach, by the way. I'm the one to the right. Zach is the one to the left. In drinking tea for etiquette ninjas.
That's awesome. Etiquette ninjas. How perfect is that? Oh my gosh. Yeah, everybody's enjoying it in the chat, having a
Awesome.
chortle.
Awesome. Love a good chortle.
That's great.
Oh Lord, yeah, it's yeah, they're enjoying it. You're not going to have to catch that. That is too funny. Thanks, PJ, for bringing that for us to enjoy. Oh my goodness, the time has just flown. Look at that.
Yeah, demonetized.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I had fun. But anything else? Because I just realized that the time there, I was like, I promised him an hour. And
yeah, I'm good to go. Jim, it's great meeting you, my friend.
Great meeting you guys. It was a lot of fun.
Hopefully, whatever you do in the future, let us know so we can support it properly.
yeah,
Especially let me know so I can watch it, because apparently everything you've made, I've enjoyed. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, awesome. And Mike, anything?
Just looking forward to more of your work, man. You're creative, you're talented, you're hardworking. To stay this busy, man. I love what I saw. What a great surprise to be able to come on tonight and chat with you. Would love to have you on Mission Log the Orville sometime. And there's a bunch of folks from the Orville coming out to Star Trek Las Vegas, aka the 57-year mission. So come on out and we'll chat and have some drinks and have a good time. So that'll be this summer at the Rio, probably the last one at the Rio. So we'll have a good time.
Awesome. Love that. You guys have been wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on. This has been a blast. Maria,
I'm so
Brian,
glad.
Mike, PJ, everybody. This was great. Thank you all.
Yeah, it's been such an honor to have you here and my special co-host, and thank you for helping me out. I don't think I would have made it without you. Sorry. But anytime you want to come back, we have some s'mores to do. Some more s'mores.
More s'mores.
Some more s'mores.
More s'mores.
If you guys want to join for that, that'd be an awesome reunion to have. I think I'm going to go rest my voice and watch some movies tonight. Some really funny stuff. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for joining me tonight and welcoming my guests. I hope you guys had a blast. I know I did. PJ, thanks for helping me out. Dr. O, thank you, and my wrenches. And PJ, anything before we shuffle off? Exit left? PJ?
I think PJ is watching those movies right now.
He's already, yeah, whatever, Maria. Yeah, he's got me on mute or something. Okay, PJ, thanks.
Thank you all so much.
Hawk's question, what was it? What? Oh.
Is he coming on? Is he coming on?
Yeah, he had a question. How are you drinking through the mask?
Oh, through the mask? Oh, that's I can drink. It's it's basically at this point it's just like lipstick they cover. So it's you can eat and drink out of it. The problem was is that my hands are painted green, so I'd be eating, and then at the end of it, my hands have like food in them. I'm like, I gotta fix the hand. But
I think he's joking about the ninja one where you guys sit in there.
You just throw it at the mask, and then like whatever gets through, that's what you have to eat.
You absorb it through your skin.
Through your skin. You just like dump it on your head, and then whatever it gets in is your food for the day.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for all the super chats and everything. You guys have blessed. Such a fun night. And Jim, I hope you enjoyed yourself. Thank you again. And I'm delaying because I'm trying to get to my exit here. All right, guys. Be good to each other and adopt a pet if you can. And take care, guys. See you next time.
Say it, love it if you wanna go, I'm down.